Hey Tiago, we're obviously here at Black Cat in Vegas. Getting loads of great questions and lots of interest from customers. We want to talk about our privacy detection data, VPNs, as well as proxies. Obviously, you lead all our efforts there on the engineering team. How does our data kind of stack up today? So where are we at in terms of coverage of VPN providers and residential proxy providers?
Yeah, so on the proxy part, the residential proxies, we're around just under 100 providers. So we've been expanding the coverage, adding more providers, and tracking as many as we can at this point. We're continuously looking for new providers and try to expand our coverage. So anytime a new one pops up, we try to add it as soon as we find it. On the privacy part, we're at above 200 providers right now, and we're implementing currently efforts on expanding that coverage.
Residential proxy and VPN data, we get lots of great questions about them. Where do those data sets stand today? So how many IPs do we see in those data sets per month at the moment?
Yeah. So on the residential proxy one, we see around 30 million IPs per month. And on the privacy one, we see around 16 million per month.
And what are some of the, in terms of number of IPs for providers, what are some of the biggest providers that we see on the VPN side?
So NordVPN, and Proton VPN are the top ones.
Okay.
They have huge infrastructures, which makes it very hard for us to collect all their IPs. So we have a continuous process that every day we are actually looking for new IPs, refreshing IPs we see on each of these providers we support.
Cool. And on there as well, we'll have the timestamp, right, of first and last seen. So obviously, if we see any providers that cycle out IPs, whatever.
Exactly. We do. We check the entry IP, but also the exit IP, and for each of those checks, we have the timestamp, the entry IP, exit IP, and each what was the provider. Associated with that IP.
And then across all the VPN providers and res proxy providers, is there is there an example you can think of one that has the most sophisticated or complex kind of setup where we kind of see I don't know, a whole bunch of different exit nodes or a single entry node or some sort of
some providers have different technologies. Some of those technologies are only supported in their desktop clients or in their application, mobile app. So it's not enough to actually collect only the OpenVPN or WireGuard. You actually have to use those applications which implement proprietary protocols for those providers to actually understand what their entry IPs are and exit IPs. So some providers don't share the IPs between these different technologies. So we have to do that work and support all the different methods the provider implements.
Cool, and that's something that we spend time on, right? So we're not just saying, okay, we've got some coverage for this provider. You and your team are really focused on trying to get complete comprehensive coverage for each provider, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we noticed that for some providers, we do really need to have the information or collect IPs from their applications because it's a complete separate infrastructure. And supporting those applications takes a lot of effort on our side. It's a completely different collection method than the WireGuard or OpenVPN. So we spend a lot of time on that.
Cool. And have you got are there a couple of examples of some of those providers that are really difficult for us to kind of get great data on?
So the hardest providers are the ones that only have the apps. So if you go on the App Store, Google App Store, Apple App Store, there's a lot of small providers with very similar apps, but with a low number of IPs, but there are millions of installs, sometimes 100 millions of installs. So supporting all of those apps is where it's very hard. So any of those providers, I can name their names are basically random, like it's Super VPN or Super Master VPN, or
sort of a long tail of these providers that may not have any IPs but might have a lot of users.
Exactly. So all the known providers are actually much easier than all these providers that almost seem to be controlled by the same organization, and it's just launching these very similar apps to attract a lot of different folks that just want to circumvent some restriction in their country or streaming restrictions. So I won't name a single one. I think all of these small ones are the ones we spend more time adding support, making sure we have a good coverage, because there's also a lot of installs, a lot of users on them.
Yeah, cool. And so with Res Proxies, obviously we've more recently launched. I think technically that's less challenging for us to kind of get the full set of data there on the Res Proxy side than the VPNs, right? But obviously some of the challenges we face are actually finding these providers, right, and getting onboarded. So can you talk through a little bit of some of the stuff we've seen there?
Some providers are very not technologically advanced, so it seems almost like it's a pet project from someone in high school or in college, or where they buy some residential proxies, access somewhere in the internet, and then they sell access to them. So you purchase bandwidth and use the proxy. So their websites are very archaic. It's very hard to manage. They don't support subscriptions. You actually purchase bandwidth, and when you purchase more bandwidth, you actually have to reconfigure the entire thing for that provider. What you find is that even though there's overlap between some of the IPs we see in different providers, some providers have a big chunk of IPs that are unique to them. So supporting them is very important, even though it might be a small provider.
Yeah.
Because even a small provider might have 1 million IPs, right?
Right.
So it's really a good volume to collect, and are important IPs because they're usually used for malicious purposes.